Hello and welcome to the second video in this course. In this video, I'm going to give you an overview of the technologies that we are going to use in this course. In the previous video, we developed an application using PHP programming language and hosted it on Heroku. We are going to change this programming language. Moving forward, we are going to be using JavaScript programming language, and we are doing this so that we can make our life easier because we want to use a framework, a JavaScript framework that simplifies our development work. In this course, I want us to first change the programming language from PHP to JavaScript, and this means that we'll need Node.js installed in our computers. We will need Express middleware to make our API programming easier. Those are the main things that we'll need from the JavaScript. And now, to add on top of this, we are going to have number 2, which is going to be the database. And for the database, I want to use a modern database or a NoSQL database. And the advantage of NoSQL database, you don't have to create tables and those structures, entity relationship diagrams and all that. You don't even need to have the table. When you write the code will develop the table for you, and that's it. You don't need to worry about like the way you do with MySQL database, DB. The first thing you do, of course, is you create database, then you create tables, a lot of them, table 1, table 2, then you use a language to send data back and forth, and that is what we call CRUD, to create, read, update, and delete data. You use a programming language remotely to do this, and in this case you don't even need to use an API to achieve this. So we are going to migrate from this approach to a new approach that requires you to have, let me just clear this space for you so that is clear. We are going to have a central database here. You can think of Heroku in the previous application. So let's call it a server, not even a database. We are going to have a server here. It could be like the way we had the Heroku, but in this case we'll have a server called Firebase. Firebase is similar to Heroku, but it has more offerings than Heroku. So what we are interested in this is something that is called Firebase Cloud Functions, to expose our API endpoint, so that when we dial star blah 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 hash, the data is sent to this API endpoint and then to Firebase. When you send a response to the endpoint, you either get the data back or you send the data to the database. So that's why we need the Firebase. So we are going to use Cloud Firebase, and we are going to use Cloud Firestore as our database. If I may just expound on what Firestore is. Firestore is a database that uses JavaScript object notation, JSON, JavaScript object notation. A JSON file starts with curly braces, closes with curly braces. Then there's the key, maybe name, and there's the value, Francis, maybe mobile number. This is a number, so you don't need to put it in quotes. 22000000. That's not my number. So this is the database that we are using, that we are calling Firestore, will be storing data in this notation. I'm going to show you exactly how it looks like. Those are the two features we are interested in Firebase, and we also have another feature that we are interested in that is called hosting. And this, you just host our static website files. Now you know what Firebase is. So we are going to have cloud functions, we are going to have Firestore database, and we are going to have hosting in one place. But we need to access this data either, let's say, from the web. And from the web, it means we can use internal hosting to access the same data within the same system, or we can even use Heroku here. We put our files in a Heroku, but we get the data from Firebase. And that is where we need an API. These points that exposes data are called endpoints. And the API is the language that is used to communicate between two endpoints. If human beings want to communicate with software, you need an interface. Traditionally, if you want to send an email, you will go open your browser, write an email and click send. But in API, it's automated by different events in our database that requires the data to be sent back and forth. But if you like, when you're using the USSD programming, you will have your phone, which goes to a mobile service provider. In our case, is Safaricom. We have, in other countries, we have Vodacom. We have MTN. And you have an idea of what I want to say. So, and this goes back to the server, which is now the Firebase. But for this to work, we will need what we called cloud functions to facilitate or to create an endpoint where this data can be sent or obtained from. So that is where we need an API interface. This is mobile phone. You have explained the web. If you have another phone that is using an Android app, it will use the same process. So Android uses the internet somewhere. This is the internet. Then to Firebase functions, which is the endpoint that sends data to your Android app so that it can display. We also have iOS app. The same thing. The logic here is you don't have to develop multiple databases for different operating system or different functionalities. You just develop once, and the best thing is you are not developing this using the traditional approach. You are using code to develop this, which is quite easy and interesting at the same time. So this is what we are going to develop in the next few videos. But before we start developing, we're going to use VueJs framework. This is a JavaScript framework. So I can say it's a JavaScript framework. So we are going to use VueJs JavaScript framework as the front end. And we are going to use Firestore database as our data store. These two can communicate directly. They can do it directly, or they will need cloud functions to help them communicate. So it depends with what level of the program will be at, but depending on where we are, we'll be using what we feel is good for us for that particular time. On top of this VueJs framework, we are going to use something we call Vuetify, and this is a plugin in VueJS that is going to help you develop the user interface. So what you see on the screen will be developed using Vuetify, while VueJS will be the back-end code and Firestore will be the database. I hope this video has made sense to you. If it hasn't made things clear, please let me know in the comment section and I will be happy to help you. If you need more information, because this was quite a theoretical video, I will be happy to give you that information in the comment section, or maybe I can do a another video in the future that will make things clear. But for now, don't worry a lot, because I'm going to make this clear when you start doing it practically. And I'm happy that you have been able to watch this up to this point, because probably you find it useful or informative. And let's catch up in the next video, where now we'll start installing the softwares we need, the plugins we need, so that at some point we'll just start developing this application as we did in the previous video, but now in a more comprehensive manner that addresses all the requirements of a modern application. Thank you for watching the video. I'm looking forward to presenting the next video to you.